Right now at 6, protests happened all around the country over the weekend, and the 4-state area was no exception.
And some of us dealing with dense fog this morning ahead of a warm and partly cloudy day. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, the fallout following controversial social media posts made by the former Coffeyville commissioner.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Monday, June the 16th. Happy Monday to everybody. Of course, Father's Day over the weekend, so hopefully everyone was able to celebrate where appropriate and hopefully had some fun, even though it was a bit toasty, a little bit wet at times.
Right. Not too bad.
No, it wasn't too bad at all. And today's not going to be too bad either. It's tomorrow and Wednesday we've got to keep an eye on as thunderstorm chances return. But we got to get through Monday first. And let's start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. And as I mentioned, some of you dealing with some dense fog this morning. You can see some of that fog there from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Heading over to Modi camera 20th and Rangeline. No fog visible from here, but you can see it is cloudy this morning. And eventually these clouds, thankfully, will go away. It's just going to take a little bit before they do. All right, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, both very reduced visibilities, under 1 mile each. It's parts of 69, 54, I-49, Nevada, Carthage, even Joplin, Miami, a lot of our locations. Remember, 10 is clear visibility, and there's not anybody out here right now at 10. Bentonville's the closest, but you are sandwiched by fog on either side of Bentonville. So just keep that in mind. And again, low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Slow down. Give yourself time to get where you're going this morning. Once we get to about 8, 9 o'clock, fog burns off. An isolated shower or storm is possible later today. It's not very likely, but we'll say, just a 5% chance of an isolated shower storm. Majority of this will be dry. It's going to heat up today, and we're going to have skies clearing through the afternoon into the evening. And then clouds will return tomorrow morning ahead of our increasing thunderstorm chances. So here's what we've got for tomorrow. We do have, and I think, again, this is more so for a complex we're expecting after midnight tomorrow. We do have a level 3 out of 5 risk for some of southeast Kansas, but you see how quickly that risk tapers off. We're going to talk about why when we're here in just a few minutes. Then we head into Wednesday, and we have a level 2 out of 5 risk across most of the area for another round of potentially strong to severe thunderstorms. So there's a lot to keep an eye on. Today, not so bad. Take a look now at that KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh. This is the one at Kansas Crossing. Now look at how dense that fog is. That's why, again, you've got to slow down. You got to be cautious out there. We're at 65 in Joplin, 66 in Pittsburgh. All of us pretty mild this morning. Into the mid to upper 60s across the region. Bentonville still one of the warmer spots out there at 69, but not many places too far behind. So again, not a bad start to the day except for that fog. As we head through the day, again, fog should burn off 8, 9 o'clock this morning. Mid 70s by 9, 80 by noon. Then we're heading for highs today, mid to upper 80s with those skies again gradually clearing. I will have a northeast breeze at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. So again, overall today, not too bad. But we have the thunderstorms rolling in. Some of them could be here fairly early tomorrow morning. We're going to go over the details, the timing, and locations of these storms here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, nationwide, No King's Day protests were all over the country on Saturday, and the 4 states were no exception. Citizens in Pittsburgh gathered at the Pritchett Pavilion to protest recent actions made by President Donald Trump, including his military parade in Washington, D.C. Now, Pittsburgh's protest was organized by the Crawford County Democrats, and the rally's purpose was to bring together individuals with similar ideals.
Just having solidarity, seeing that there's other people with the same mindset and wanting to be more active in their communities. To me, this isn't necessarily a protest. It's an opportunity for people to get together and make a difference in their communities.
Live music was on as side playing for the crowds that protested. Now, the gatherings did remain peaceful throughout the event. From Kansas to Missouri, people also gathering to protest in Carthage. About 200 gathered Saturday afternoon in Carthage at Central Park along Garrison Avenue, waving signs and cheering to cars honking or chanting along with someone on a bullhorn. It was a very peaceful gathering with people of all ages, ethnicities, and backgrounds. And people brought coolers of water, even popsicles, to keep people hydrated in the heat. Police were nearby but were not needed. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, the Coffeyville City Commissioner has stepped down following community backlash to a social media post. In the now deleted post, former Commissioner Don Edwards detailed an encounter he allegedly had with children at the City Aquatic Center. Now, in response, community members accused Edwards of making sexually harassing comments about young women. Along with his resignation, Edwards says he's no longer seeking re-election. In his resignation letter to the commission, Edwards apologized, saying, quote, "The comment in question has caused a lot of upset in our community and is a distraction from the many positive things happening at the city of Coffeyville." In his statement, the Coffeyville mayor says the statements made by Edwards do not reflect the values, beliefs, or standards of the city of Coffeyville. She says the city commission, quote, "strives to create an environment that is respectful, inclusive, and safe for all of our residents, especially our children." At a meeting last week, commissioners appointed former Commissioner Pam Jones to fill the position. Well, the city of Knoll rescinds the transfer of a job position just ahead of a planned protest. Thursday, the city announced that Rhonda Wise would be transferred to a newly created parks position by the mayor. Wise is facing felony perjury charges in connection with the Missouri State Highway Patrol investigation of a fatal hit and run. A public protest had been planned for Friday morning at 10 in response to the transfer of Wise. Now at 10 Friday morning, the city released a statement saying the city council had met and voted to rescind the transfer of Rhonda Wise to the roles of code enforcement and events administrator, a newly created position. The protest did not happen and organizers declined to speak on camera. The mayor has also been contacted for statement. As of now, his office has yet to respond. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Well, a nonprofit tied to 23andMe's former CEO is set to take over the genetic testing giant. Plus, the manhunt has ended for the suspect who shot 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses. And we have a warm and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Dinosaur Park in Erie, Kansas. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning, you need to listen up. If you drive a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, over 82,000 have been recalled due to an issue that increases the risk of a crash. Now, the recall affects certain 2018 to 2024 Softail motorcycles. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, there is a concern that a part of the rear shock preload adjuster may break. Now, as a result, the rear tire may become damaged, and that can lead to a risk of a crash or death. Now, there have been no reports of any injuries due to the possible malfunction. Well, the nonprofit of 23andMe co-founder and former CEO Ann Wojcicki has won a bid to acquire the genetic testing company TTAM Research Institute will buy 23andMe for $305 million. Now, this follows the company's bankruptcy filing in March when Wojcicki stepped down. The 23andMe had collected genetic data through saliva samples from 15 million customers, but bankruptcy sparked concern about data privacy. Now, many worried their data could be sold to a third party, and a lawsuit was filed by more than 24 states Monday to block the sale of genetic data without customer consent. TTAM said it will comply with 23andMe's privacy policies and honor existing customer data rights policies. The manhunt in Minnesota has ended. Last night, the suspect in the shootings of 2 Democratic state lawmakers and their spouses was taken into custody. Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband died while the other 2 victims are recovering. Police say the suspect is believed to have impersonated a law enforcement officer at the time of the shootings, calling it a betrayal and deeply disturbing. Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
Minnesota police say shooting suspect Vance Luther Bolter was armed when he was taken into custody overnight with no use of force.
The suspect crawled to law enforcement teams and was placed under arrest at that point in time.
Brooklyn Park's police chief said a breakthrough came yesterday in the search after police found the suspect's abandoned car in rural Sibley County. Multiple law enforcement agencies descended on the area and built a perimeter until they were able to locate the suspect with the assistance of a helicopter and infrared technology. Police say they believe the suspect acted alone in the shootings.
We will be exploring if there are any broader network. We have not uncovered any of that at this time.
The 57-year-old suspect now faces murder charges in the shooting deaths of Democratic State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark. A memorial of flowers on the steps of the state capitol have been placed in their honor. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has called the shootings politically motivated.
This cannot be the norm. It cannot be the way that we deal with our political differences.
The suspect is also charged with attempted murder in the shootings of State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Both are now recovering from their injuries. In a statement last night, the Hoffmans said they are grateful to law enforcement and added they are, quote, incredibly lucky to be alive. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Police say the investigation is ongoing into the suspect's motive and that he was interviewed last night by investigators. Authorities also say they are in contact with federal and local law enforcement in other states regarding a potential list of victims that was found by police in the alleged gunman's car. Well, still to come, a new study suggests that women who work night shifts can face a higher risk of asthma. Plus, Chris returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, there's a growing movement to rethink how public land is used in cities. Now, one idea is to repurpose underutilized land into sustainable agriculture and pollinator habitats. An example of that can be found on a strip near a Missouri interstate. Travis Cummings reports the area is being turned into a productive urban garden and educational lab for students.
That's a good one.
At any given time,
Chocolate mint.
You'll find young growers hard at work in St. Louis's Shaw neighborhood, just off Highway 44.
What we asked was what will be the big crisis for the whole, for all people in 2050. It was almost unanimous. It'll be food security.
SLU professor Donald Stump first envisioned the greenhouse venture in 2011.
You can see it pretty clearly from up here, this strip of green tucked between cars and concrete. Researchers say green spaces like these alongside highways can be lifelines for pollinators, city gardens, and even attacking hunger in our neighborhoods.
This 3.7-acre greenway is now a living classroom for 4th through 6th graders. With MoDOT's help, they lease it for just $1 a year, saving the state maintenance costs.
We save them about $500 a year because they don't have to cut it. We do it all. We do an entry garden, or we'll do a prairie on both sides here and different flowers.
The space includes a terrace garden, pollinator habitat, and demonstration areas funded by $1 million in donations.
Where we could let them return to native wildflowers, and then we could let the native bees come back. They would pollinate the fields, and we wouldn't be hauling these trailers around.
What started as a patch of grass now grows kids, bees, and big ideas.
Now, what's happening on that strip of land in Missouri aligns with goals of a federal measure. The 2015 B Act encourages states to open public land such as this for pollinator habitats and sustainable agriculture. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, fog conditions improving a little from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh, but still some dense fog out there. And then it's going to warm up. And then we have thunderstorm chances as we roll into Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll go over all those details with you when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at 6:21 now on this Monday morning. We're starting with the fog tracker. So again, significantly reduced visibilities. Fort Scott heading over toward Nevada. Pittsburgh getting some improvements in Pittsburgh. Not so much in Nevada. Visibility's down. Same into Stockton now as well. As you can see, we've got patchy dense fog across the entire region. The densest fog, Bourbon, Vernon, Crawford, and Barton counties, and then down into eastern Benton County, the southern and western portions of Delaware and Benton counties as well. So you guys know the drill. Low beam beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Slow down. Give yourself time to get where you're going today. Fog should burn off about 8, 9 o'clock this morning. After that, skies will gradually begin to clear. We could get an isolated shower or thunderstorm out there today. If we see anything, it's going to be extremely isolated. It's less than a 5% chance, in all honesty, of seeing rain. The majority of us, as you can see, are going to be dry. It's going to be a bit on the toasty side, but otherwise not too bad. Skies will actually be clear overnight, and then early tomorrow morning, clouds will begin to return. And then here comes the rain. So here's what we're looking at. We have a few different rounds of showers and thunderstorms starting tomorrow morning, carrying on through Wednesday evening. Some of those could be strong to severe. So these thunderstorms, about 8, 9 o'clock, begin pushing into our area, especially into southeastern Kansas. Some of these could be strong to severe. You can see how we get one cell that Future Track wants to flare up pretty well coming in to parts of Chautauqua County down into Washington County. The greater severe threat tomorrow is going to be after midnight tomorrow, going into early Wednesday morning, which we'll get to. But some of the storms we see through the day tomorrow could be strong, potentially severe. Because take a look at these temperatures. We've got these south winds pulling everything in. And the other side of this is with the increasing storm chances, humidity, dew point levels are going to increase. That's going to make it very muggy. We could see heat index values tomorrow approaching 100 degrees. So one of our hottest days so far, at least in terms of heat index values. So do keep that in mind if you're going to be outdoors. And we go late Tuesday into early Wednesday. Initially, we clear out. And then by about 1, 2 a.m. Wednesday, here comes a line of storms. Now, this line of storms, the model data suggests, and I've looked at several of them, they all seem to be suggesting the same thing, at least for right now. Yeah, it comes in packing a punch, but it dies very quickly as it dives to the south and east. And the severe risk map, which we'll show you, kind of accounts for that because there's some consistency in that thing losing strength. But as it first enters parts of southeast Kansas, it could cause some problems very early Wednesday morning. Throughout the day Wednesday, a few scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms. Some of those could be strong, potentially severe. Then we're looking at redevelopment by the late afternoon, early evening along and south of I-44, and some of those storms could be strong to severe as well. Now that boundary, that cold front backs up or slows down even just a little, then those storm chances will lift off to the north and west. And so that's why heading into Wednesday, you'll see the severe weather outlook kind of matches that possibility as well. So again, this is really for after midnight tomorrow. We have a level 3 out of 5 risk for our northwestern counties in southeast Kansas, but you see how quickly it tapers off into a lower risk as that complex dives southeast very early Wednesday morning. Then for Wednesday, again, we've got a broader area, level 2 out of 5 risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. As for the risks for tomorrow, here's how they stand at this point. We have an isolated to scattered risk for tornadoes, primarily, as you can see, into southeastern Kansas. Same with the hail risk, with a numerous risks, just barely clipping Greenwood County. Then we have the winds, and that's the thing with that complex. Damaging straight-line wind gusts look to be the main concern with that complex as it rolls in overnight tomorrow into early Wednesday. So it's a lot we want to certainly keep an eye on, and we'll, of course, keep you updated through the day today, and we will be here with you as these storms push through. Again, fog wrapping up about 8, 9 o'clock, low 70s to start our day, near 80 by 11 a.m. That's ahead of our highs today, climbing into the mid to upper 80s. Again, tomorrow, low 90s. Heat index values, aside from the storm chances, could reach close to 100. So make sure you're taking appropriate precautions if you're outdoors. A little cooler Wednesday, clouds, storms. That'll bring our temperatures down a wee bit. Then we heat back up into the weekend. A lot more low to mid 90s out there, and some additional rain chances next Wednesday. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the American Academy of Pediatrics has updated its guidance on how pediatricians should talk about contraception with their teen patients. A new report covers several types of contraceptives, from long-lasting IUDs to the morning after pill. Now, the AAP says pediatricians can be a trusted resource because of their typical long-standing relationships with families. And patients preparing for a major operation can feel okay just doing a video consultation with their doctor ahead of time. A new study from Amsterdam University Medical Center found patients will have the same level of information intake as an in-person visit and save time and money by not commuting to the doctor's office. And women who work at night are more likely to have asthma than women who only work during the daytime. UK researchers analyzed nearly 275,000 workers and found women who worked night shifts were about 50% more likely to suffer from moderate or severe asthma. They did not find this link for men who work at night. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, the city of Neodesha and USD 461 team up to showcase improvements to the city and schools.
And we've had some patchy, dense fog to deal with this morning. Skies eventually clearing and temperatures heating up. Look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, summer fun splashed into Grove, Oklahoma as the Toes in the Grand Festival returned to Wolf Creek Park.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
Hi, Chris Warner. It is now Monday. It's June the 16th. Hopefully, everyone had a great weekend. Had Father's Day over the weekend. Got to celebrate if you were celebrating. And even if you weren't, hopefully you still had a good time this weekend because it wasn't that bad. Had some rain, but nothing too crazy to worry about. So, however, that does change as we roll in Tuesday and Wednesday. And we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But first, let's get our Monday started with a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Fog conditions have improved a bit from our camera there in downtown Pittsburgh, but you can still see some of it off on the horizon. MoDOT camera 20th and range line, no fog on it, but definitely cloudy skies, and it'll be a minute before the skies begin to clear for us out there. So here's a look at that dense fog. Densest fog still, again, Bourbon, Vernon, Crawford, and Barton counties, and then stretching a little bit into northern Cherokee, Jasper County. Fort Scott, you've had significantly reduced visibilities all morning long, so do be cautious. So, of course, that's including parts of 69, I-49, 54, and then you go down south, Cassville, parts of Berry County, eastern and southern Berry counties down into Benton County, and then southern Delaware County, western Benton County, additional reduced visibilities. Bentonville's the closest to clear, which is supposed to be 10, but you can also see on either side of Bentonville, sandwiched in by some dense fog, so low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them. Slow down, give yourself time to get where you're going today. As we head into the afternoon, again, skies will continue to clear for us, eventually becoming clear by late evening. An isolated shower or storm is possible. The chance is pretty darn low, but there is at least a possibility of a brief pop-up shower or storm. As you can see on Future Track, most of us are going to be dry and just straight up warm today with a northeast breeze. Now, that begins to change though. Tomorrow, a couple of things about tomorrow. One, temperatures heat up in the low 90s, and with the humidity and increasing dew point levels for the incoming thunderstorms, kind of bringing that fuel in for them, we're talking heat index values tomorrow could approach 100 degrees. So if you are outside, just keep that in mind. Now again, for tomorrow night, this is again really tomorrow night, very early Wednesday morning, parts of southeast Kansas, that's a level 3 out of 5 risk out there. All hazards are possible, but damaging wind gusts are the primary concern. Then we go into our Wednesday and a good portion of the area in a 2 out of 5 risk for some strong to severe thunderstorms. Again, all hazards appear possible at this point, but we'll have more specific information as we roll into tomorrow. And we're going to go over these storms, their timing and their locations for you here in detail in just a few more minutes. We're at 65 in Joplin, 66 in Pittsburgh, and visibility has improved here from the KDOT camera there near Kansas Crossing, which is also some good news. Temperatures across the area, most of us mid to upper 60s, so a mild start to the day. Not bad by any means, but certainly mild out there. Our temperatures today, mid 70s by 9. Fog should begin burning off, or should be just about done by 9. About 80 by noon, mid upper 80s for our highs. Skies clearing into the afternoon, and that northeast breeze at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. As I discussed, thunderstorm chances start increasing tomorrow morning, and they last through at least Wednesday evening. Details on all of that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So the city of Neodesha, in partnership with the USD 461 school district, gave a presentation on the improvements being done to the school and city. The district shared updates on the Early Learning Center and announcements on scholarships from the Promise Scholarship Program.
People like to keep, nothing's wrong, don't change it, but there was, we saw a steady decline in our population for many years. And so you've got to really diagnose that and figure out how you fix that. The things we're doing now are fixing that. We've seen our numbers, population has increased, and I think that's evidenced through our growth in our school.
Everything that happened was part of this year's Hometown Days. Well, Saturday was Flag Day, and as a part of that day, the American Legion Post 13 is retiring old, tattered flags. Anyone wishing to retire their flag was encouraged to do so. Over 200 American flags were retired at Saturday's ceremony. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. You can watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. All you have to do is download the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, summer fun hit the water in Grove, Oklahoma as Toes in the Grand returned to Wolf Creek Park. The 4-day festival brought together food trucks, vendors, live music, a carnival, and the Thunder on Wolf Creek boat races. Teams from across the country competed in high-speed hydroplane and roundabout races with events on Saturday and Sunday.
The camaraderie is great. You're hanging out at the lake. I love Grand Lake. I love Grove, Oklahoma. Being able to hang out here all weekend. They had bands last night that were fantastic, and fellow racers, it's a lot of fun.
Admission was free and families were encouraged to bring lawn chairs. The festival ran June 12th through the 15th. Well, local Blueberry Farm held its opening day in Webb City Saturday morning, and KOAM's Mitch Adams brings us more.
It's the first flush of berries, so they are loaded with blueberries. It's super easy to pick. It's like stripping grapes off of vines. I mean, they're just everywhere.
If you're purchasing blueberries in the 4 states, chances are that you're pulling them from a supermarket shelf. Bridgman Blueberry Farm opens their rows of blueberry bushes for the public to come pick.
So today is our opening day blueberry season. We're actually a couple weeks behind because of all the rain and lack of sunshine, but open today, people come and they pick their own blueberries and they pay by the pound.
Recent sunshine has ripened the berries enough to where they can be picked and eaten right from the bush. A tradition that started many years before new ownership, blueberry picking at the farm has been a staple for locals.
People have been coming here for years and years and years before we owned it. And before the owners before us owned it, they've been coming here for generations to pick blueberries, to bring their family and everything. Yeah, the families just love coming out and doing it.
Being a family-oriented event, one of the main goals of the farm is to get kids to recognize where their food comes from.
I think it's important to get the kids involved, and they come out, they see the blueberries on the bush, and they kind of put it together that where that produce that's sitting in their fridge really actually comes from, and there's actually labor and work involved in getting it off the bush. And it's something for them to do, to get outside and not just be behind a screen as usual.
Yeah, no, they don't do that anymore.
In Webb City, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
According to Bridgman, some blueberry plants can take over 5 years to fully develop into a bush that you can pick from. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. World leaders meet in Canada as global tensions rise, with talks focusing on trade and infrastructure. Plus, Little Caesars is launching a Fantastic Four pizza. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Dinosaur Park in Erie, Kansas. In Consumer Watch this morning, if you're planning a summer road trip, the conflict between Israel and Iran might affect you. It's causing the cost of oil to skyrocket, and analysts say U.S. gas prices are likely to climb higher starting this week. Amy Kiley reports on the potential severity.
As the conflict between Israel and Iran intensifies, experts say Americans could feel it at the pump. An analyst for Gas Buddy predicts prices could rise more than 30 cents a gallon by July 4th. That's due to the skyrocketing cost of oil.
Any kind of conflict going on in the Middle East, or particularly if it escalates, is going to lead to rising oil prices, which will lead to inflationary pressures in the U.S.
Some oil infrastructure appears damaged as the two sides exchange strikes. This video is from Haifa, home to Israel's largest refinery, and Iran is one of the top oil producers in the world.
They went after oil storage and oil refineries in those depots, as well as, of course, the targeting of gas facilities in Iran South.
Experts say the good news is U.S. gas prices were relatively mild before the conflict began. Rystad Energy says the oil market's reaction could be contained and temporary if Iran focuses on military targets. Experts say gas prices would rise much more if it went after the Strait of Hormuz. Goldman Sachs predicts an extended disruption there would push oil prices past $100 a barrel. That's because core OPEC countries need the waterway in order to ramp up production.
There's every single day 21 million barrels of oil that flows through the Strait of Hormuz. It's about a fifth of what the world consumes.
I'm Mimi Kiley reporting.
President Donald Trump and other leaders of the world's largest 7 economies, known as the Group of 7, are meeting in Canada today and tomorrow. Now, the gatherings come amid ramped up tensions in the Middle East between Israel and Iran and President Trump's trade war. Canada's Prime Minister says some key G7 agenda items will include shoring up mineral supply chains, using AI for economic growth, and tapping into private investment for stronger infrastructure. Well, a big weekend for live action remakes at the box office. How to Train Your Dragon soared to the top spot in its debut, hauling in more than $83 million. Disney's Lilo & Stitch was second with more than $15 million, and romantic comedy Materialist opened third with $12 million. And today, Little Caesars is also taking a bite out of the silver screen, launching a fantastic 4-in-1 pizza to mark next month's theatrical release of the Fantastic Four: First Steps. The deal gives customers 2 slices, each of 4 flavors: classic cheese, pepperoni, Italian sausage, and bacon, pepperoni, and jalapeno in collectible boxes for just $7.99. Now, Little Caesars is also partnering with Fandango to give customers $4 off a movie ticket to see the film with a purchase of $20 or more. That's a look at Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got those cloudy skies out there, still dealing with some patchy, dense fog as well. We do have thunderstorm chances increasing tomorrow into Wednesday, and some of those could be strong to severe. Well, another full look at your forecast and a look at birthdays and anniversaries when we come back. All right, time for some Monday birthdays in the 4 states. We're going to start in Pittsburgh with Allie Jackson, celebrating birthday number 3. Happy birthday.
And a happy 85th birthday, to Dale Flanagan in Jasper.
You could say, it could be an anniversary of your birth. It could be another way to put it. Why not? Well, very happy birthday, Dale. Our list continues with Roe Parsons III and McCune celebrating another year wiser.
And in Pittsburgh, a happy birthday to Glenda Morgan. It says here, happy birthday from the Crestline girls.
And we've got June Newbanks celebrating a birthday as well. So here's the thing, that's not that many birthdays. Of course, we love celebrating these with you. And if you would like to celebrate with us and share your love for your loved ones, what do they need to do, Elise?
Go ahead and submit your birthdays and your anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMNewsNow.com. Be sure to include those wonderful photos and messages to, of course, meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen. And please also include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
All right, very important information there. And we've got some information to go over with you in terms of our forecast. Taking another look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Again, skies are cloudy, getting a little bit of sunlight in there. Fog slowly improving, at least the fog conditions improving around Pittsburgh. Modi Cameron, 20th and Rangeline, similar story. We've got mostly cloudy skies, a little bit of daylight trying to squeak in. And in terms of the fog, man, Bourbon County just really sacked in. That stretches into Vernon County as well. Fort Scott, 0 visibility again. So that's parts of 54, 69. You've really got to slow down. You've got to be cautious. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. And again, be careful this morning. Watch out for animals too. They're going to be out. There were a lot of them out this morning, at least compared to the last few morning drives I've had. So just be cautious this morning. Leave distance between you and the car ahead of you. Now, that's not the only location, though, with fog. Everybody has reduced visibilities. Bentonville's the closest to perfect, which is 10. But again, you can see on either side of Bentonville, dense fog out there. That does include parts of southern Delaware County, getting some around Veneta. So every highway we've got, just about every roadway, there's at least some kind of fog conditions out there. So do be careful. Now we have the thunderstorms to talk about, and unfortunately they do come with a severe threat as we roll into Tuesday and Wednesday. Today, not bad. Really a less than 5% chance of an isolated shower or rumble of thunder, mainly in the Barry or Lawrence counties out there. As you can see, there's not much. The majority of us are going to be dry. We'll have clear skies as we roll into the late evening hours, and then overnight, say about 4 a.m. or so, clouds will begin to increase ahead of a thunderstorm complex that's going to be rolling in from out west. Now, these storms aren't expected to be packing a significant punch by any means, but we could get some strong, potentially severe thunderstorms anytime really between 5 a.m. and then through the day Tuesday, with better chances late tomorrow night into Wednesday, which we'll show you. So again, scattered showers, thunderstorms out there. Against a couple of them could be strong, possibly severe through the day. And then we have a break late evening. We even clear out a bit. So it's going to be a clearing of deception because overnight, here comes this complex. Now, it's an interesting way how it's playing out. However, there are several computer models that show really the same thing. And so the severe weather risk for tomorrow is also lines up with that. By 2 a.m., here it comes into southeastern Kansas. By 2, we're talking Chanute, Fredonia, back toward the 8th Center. But take a look. Now, it still could be strong, potentially severe, even as it gets in to, say, Cherokee County, far western Jasper, Newton counties. But then by 5, it's off near Cassville, and all that's left of it are a few showers. Then we have additional thunderstorms that are expected out there and some showers. Some of those could potentially be strong to severe, but not looking at anything too wild at this point as we roll into Wednesday, late morning into the afternoon. Then later in the day, at this point, we're looking along and south of I-44 by Wednesday afternoon into the evening, another round of strong, potentially severe thunderstorms out there. But you see that boundary. If it slows down even a little, that will take these storm chances and move them back to the northwest. And in all honesty, the severe weather risk areas for Wednesday afternoon and evening also line up with that possibility because there's some disagreement as to just how fast that boundary is going to be pushing through. And that, again, will alter the times that these storms get here on Wednesday. So again, today, an isolated shower storm. Tomorrow, and this is again going to be really after midnight. Now, we could get a stronger severe thunderstorm through the day tomorrow, but the greatest risk comes after midnight, and we do have a level 3 out of 5 risk for parts of southeast Kansas. So that complex we talked about, that's for that. And see, look how narrow the level 2 out of 5 risk is. And then the 1 is a little broader, and then it just kind of tapers off as that complex moves southeast. So the severe risks tomorrow are also lining up with that complex kind of dying out through the early morning hours on Wednesday. But it could still be in a severe state as it rolls into parts of Kansas. Then for the rest of the day, Wednesday, there's that level 2 out of 5 risk again, and you can see it's backed up a little further northwest because, again, there's some disagreement as to where those storms will go. If they start here, okay, that's why we have this risk area. If they start here, then they'll be confined south of I-44, but still some disagreement on the timing of those storms for Wednesday. As for the threats for tomorrow, all hazards are possible. We have an isolated to scattered tornado risk. Additionally, we have the isolated to scattered hail risk with the numerous just barely clipping Greenwood, but damaging wind gusts is going to be the main concern with that complex. The damaging straight line winds 70 miles an hour or so. So it's something we want to watch very closely over the next 24 hours. And of course, as we get new information on all this, we'll keep you updated with those storm chances rolling into, again, late tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning. Otherwise, fog should burn off by about 8, 9 o'clock. Mostly cloudy, low 70s to start, upper 70s by 11 a.m. We're going to have another look at your forecast, plus the news you need to know here in just a moment. And when we transition to Fox 14, or if you hang out with us here on KOAM Plus, we're going to have a few safety tips to keep in mind as you work out during the hot summer months.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Nationwide, no King's Day protests were all over the country on Saturday, and the 4 states was no exception. Residents in Joplin, Carthage, and Pittsburgh gathered to protest recent actions made by President Donald Trump, including his military parade in Washington, D.C. There were no reports of violence during the protests. The Coffeyville City Commissioner Don Edwards steps down following community backlash to a social media post. Edwards detailed an encounter he allegedly had with children at the City Aquatic Center. Community members accused Edwards of making sexually harassing comments about young women. Edwards says he no longer is seeking re-election, and former Commissioner Pam Jones will now fill the position. And the city of Knoll rescinds the transfer of a job position just ahead of a planned protest. The city had announced that Rhonda Wise would be transferred to a newly created parks position. Wise is facing felony perjury charges in connection with a fatal hit and run. A public protest was planned for Friday morning in response, but did not happen after the city released a statement saying the city council had met and voted to rescind the offer. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, a warm one out there for sure. Mid-upper 80s, skies clearing, and northeast breeze 5 to 10. Skies will clear out late this evening, and for a little bit overnight, back into the upper 60s. Clouds will start increasing again about 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thunderstorm chances begin increasing. Strong to severe thunderstorms possible tomorrow and Wednesday. And the other thing to keep an eye on is the heat tomorrow, where the humidity, dew point levels increasing ahead of the storms. Could have heat index values tomorrow close to 100. Wow. So certainly going to feel very hot out there.
All right, sounds like it. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making lemonade poached salmon in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Coming up next, the manhunt for a suspect who killed a Minnesota state lawmaker and her husband is over. What's known about the arrest and why officials are confident the shooter acted alone.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we'll see how blueberry picking can be a fun event for the whole family.
Plus, Josh Novak, president of the Neosho Arts Council, joins us in the studio to talk about their spring concert series. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll be back here bright and early, tracking thunderstorms for you at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.